Duckweed might be one of the best foods you can give your shrimp, but what about frogbit, water lettuce, and redroot floaters? Can you use those instead? And are they just as good? And once duckweed takes over your tank, how do you actually get rid of it? These are questions I've been getting from you in the comments, so let's dive right in and break it all down. Duckweed is often considered a superfood for shrimp, and for good reason. It's packed with nutrients, containing roughly 35% carbohydrates, around 20% minerals, and up to 40% protein, along with beneficial omega-3 fatty acids. And that protein is especially important when it comes to breeding, helping support egg development, and the growth of shrimplets. On top of that, it grows extremely fast, meaning it's constantly producing fresh plant material. Its leaves are thin, soft, and delicate, so once you blanch it, it breaks down quickly and becomes very easy for shrimp to consume. On top of that, it naturally supports biofilm growth, which is actually what shrimp are targeting most of the time. Another key advantage is size. Duckweed is tiny, so when it sinks, it spreads across the entire tank, giving shrimplets and adults equal access to food. So if duckweed is this powerful, natural food source, what about other floating plants like frogbit, water lettuce, and redroot floaters? Can you use them the same way? The short answer is, not quite. They may look similar on the surface, but they behave very differently once they're in your tank. Frogbit is probably the closest comparison to duckweed, but even when you're using it as food, it behaves very differently. Nutritionally, frogbit contains much lower protein levels, around 10 to 20%, which is roughly half or even less than duckweed. Its leaves are thicker and more waxy, so even when blanched, they don't break down nearly as easily as duckweed. Shrimp will graze on it, but most of the time, they're actually feeding on the biofilm that develops on the plant rather than the plant itself. Where frogbit really shines is in its roots. Those long, dangling roots become a hotspot for microorganisms, and shrimp love picking through them, but again, that's more about biofilm than direct nutrition. Now, water lettuce takes this even further. When prepared, its leaves are even thicker and more fibrous, and nutritionally, it's not particularly dense, generally lower in protein and harder to digest compared to duckweed. Even after blanching, shrimp rarely consume much of the plant itself unless it's already breaking down. Like frogbit, it still provides grazing surfaces, but as an actual food source, it's very limited. And then there are redroot floaters. These sit somewhere in between. Their leaves are more delicate than frogbit and water lettuce, so they break down a bit easier when blanched. Nutritionally, they can offer moderate protein levels, but still not at the level of duckweed. They also grow much slower, which means you're not getting the same constant supply of fresh, usable food. So even when all three are prepared for feeding, shrimp will spend most of their time grazing on the biofilm rather than consuming large amounts of the plant itself. And that's really the key difference here. All three of these plants are excellent for tank balance, shelter, and biofilm production, but they don't match duckweed when it comes to being a high-protein, easily accessible food source. The major downside of duckweed is that it grows fast, really fast. What starts as a light layer can quickly turn into a thick, overwhelming mat if left unchecked. And if that surface becomes too dense, it can begin to limit gas exchange, which may impact oxygen levels in your tank over time. If you keep labyrinth fish like bettas and gouramis, a dense layer can make it harder for them to reach the surface to breathe air, which can lead to stress and breathing issues if not managed properly. So how do you get rid of duckweed? There are three main ways to deal with it. The first, and probably the most useful, is to turn it into food simply by blanching it. Blanching is a simple process where you briefly boil the duckweed, then transfer it into cold water to stop it from continuing to cook. This softens the plant, breaks it down slightly, helps it sink, and makes it much easier for shrimp of all sizes to eat and digest. Simply scoop some out of your tank. I like using a glass jar to collect it, then pouring it through a net so I don't accidentally remove any shrimp or nanofish. From there, place it into a pot of boiling water and let it boil for about 2 minutes. While that's happening, prepare a bowl of cold water. I usually use dechlorinated water, but tap water works just as well. Once the duckweed is done, transfer it into the cold water and let it cool down. After that, you can add it back into your aquarium for your shrimp to feed on. And if you have autosinkless catfish, don't be surprised if they join in too. The second option, if you keep goldfish, is to simply feed it to them as is. Just scoop it out and add it to their tank. Goldfish will constantly graze on duckweed and can clear it out surprisingly fast. And the third option is to remove and discard it. You can compost it, but avoid washing it down the drain. Duckweed can easily spread if it enters natural waterways, where it can become invasive and disrupt local ecosystems. Just remember, getting rid of duckweed takes time. Even a small amount left behind can quickly regrow, so if your goal is to remove it completely, be prepared to stay consistent over several days or even weeks, depending on the size of your tank. If duckweed isn't your thing or you just want something more consistent and easier to control, I've created a full shrimp food collection designed to support growth, breeding, and overall health. Let's start with the staples, foods you can feed once or even multiple times each week. Fuse is a carefully balanced fusion of land and sea ingredients. It combines proteins like salmon, krill, and shrimp with algae, yeast, and essential vitamins. This mix provides omega-3s for color, antioxidants for immune support, and gut-friendly nutrients that support digestion and steady growth. Fuse also includes a small scoop so feeding stays consistent and controlled. To complement that, there's Vita. While Fuse leans toward protein, Vita is entirely plant-based. It's made from carrot, spinach, kale, beetroot, pumpkin, and sweet potato, ingredients naturally rich in fiber, minerals, and antioxidants that support healthy molds, natural coloration, and long-term vitality. Like Fuse, it comes with its own scoop, making portion control simple. Now for the complementary foods, ideal as weekly additions or occasional treats. Snow is my snowflake-style food made from soybean hull pellets. When it hits the water, it expands into a soft layer that shrimp can graze on for days. As it slowly breaks down, it fuels biofilm growth, one of the most important natural food sources for shrimp. Snow is high in fiber, safe to leave in the tank long term, and works well as a vacation food. And finally, there's Buzz, pure, natural bee pollen granules. Buzz is packed with protein, amino acids, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Even a small weekly feeding can noticeably support growth, color, energy, and overall health. When feeding is simple and consistent, your entire tank becomes easier to manage and your shrimp can thrive. If you want to try them yourself, you can pick up any of these foods individually, grab the signature 4-pack, or start with the sample pack. You'll get 10% off with promo code FOREVER10. Skittle Squad members on Patreon also unlock exclusive member pricing, along with behind-the-scenes access and deeper insight into everything happening in my aquariums. You'll find links in the description and pinned comment. And there you have it. Duckweed can either be one of the most useful plants in your aquarium, or one of the most frustrating to deal with. It really comes down to how you choose to use it. And while plants like frogbit, water lettuce, and redwood floaters all have their place in your tank, providing shelter, improving water quality, and supporting biofilm, they don't quite match duckweed when it comes to being a high-protein, easily accessible food source for your shrimp. If you found this video helpful and you have a question you'd like me to cover, let me know down in the comments. Now, if you're setting up an aquarium and want a complete step-by-step guide, including how to keep shrimp healthy and thriving, check out these videos next. And if you'd like to take your shrimp keeping further, you'll find links to my premium shrimp food collection in the description and pinned comment. For access to everything happening behind the scenes, you can join the Skittle Squad on Patreon. I'd love to have you there. I'm Andy, thanks for watching, and I hope I made shrimp keeping a little easier for you. I'll catch you in the next one.